taking place in. In this movement, we should emphasize two distinct phases. In the first phase, the paddle is in contact with the water phase. In the second, the paddle loses contact, the aerial phase. During the water phase, we have to transmit sufficient impulse to accelerate the canoe. This phase consists of the attack, where the position of arms, trunk and legs is decisive in order to create a quick, clean support in the water. In this subphase, we get a good point of support from which to push the canoe. Next, the traction, which is conditioned by the previous action. In this subphase, we have maximum acceleration. This is where we transmit the greatest possible force without hindering the canoe's movement. The movement of the paddle should be even, without loss of inertia, which would reduce the acceleration. The angles are conditioned by the position of the hands, one pushing and one pulling. When the paddle is in the water, it should be maintained perpendicular as long as possible. The movement of the trunk should be controlled. The pulling hand moves towards the thorax and the pushing hand sets the trajectory at eye level. Moving to the other side by action of torsion and not by initiative of the arm. This movement of torsion and the movement of the arms end at the same time. The trajectory of the paddle in the water is conditioned by these leverage points. The acceleration of the paddle during traction should be the result of the action of the trunk. The trunk should describe a pendular harmonic movement. The leg on the paddling side should exert constant pressure on the footrest until traction ends. This movement helps transmit power to the canoe. The extraction of the paddle is at the end of the stroke. It should be clean, without water and quick, and helped by the hand which is at the height of the hips and the flexed elbow. This movement eliminates loss of stability and loss of inertia. In the aerial phase, the hand rises to the position of attack, separated from the trunk. The elbow is flexed and lower than the shoulder. The pulling arm is stretched forward on the other side. The leg on the paddling side stops exerting pressure, and the other leg, which is flexed, and the trunk get ready for the next stroke. The hips move by the action of the legs, helping the torsion. In this phase, we should distinguish two important parts. First, the paddle leaves the water, muscular decontraction, relaxation. During this process, we prepare ourselves for the next impulse. This begins with an ample torsion which changes the direction of the movement of the trunk to produce acceleration with the next stroke. Once we have analyzed these phases in sequence, we can assume that establishing a pattern or model will help understand the technique and serve as a basic support for the coach so that, among other things, the different movements can be evaluated. This evaluation should be global or polarized. And extraction. The aerial